Boom! What's good, YouTube? Today, people, I have a very exciting video of sorts on our BRZ. Dude, we got ourselves a set of OG original, the JDM Classic Enki NT03 in silver. All right, what's up, guys? We are currently at the shop. As you guys can see, we're getting the camber, the ride height adjusted by me, and they're the professional, usually the guy to go to. But we're getting everything dialed in, and I'm super hyped to see what she looks like. Right now, we're maxed out on the coils as low as we could go. So we took for a test drive, gonna see if we go a little lower and kind of camber out. What happened?
So it's gonna touch right there.
Oh, that's the tab. That's the tab.
If you wanna take some off,
that's the tab.
looks like almost nothing.
As you guys can see, we are rubbing in the rear a tad bit with the 255s, which I didn't think we were gonna need to trim the rear tabs, but we're gonna have to trim the plastic. So usually you guys see the rear tabs are trimmed, they pop off the plastic tab and then trim the metal. However, now, I mean, I've been talking to Anthony and he doesn't want to trim the metal, man. He said he wants to trim the plastic, so the metal's not needed to be trimmed right now. Just the specs we're running, the amount of camber we're running, we're just gonna trim the plastic, so, and go from there. All right, guys, she's all set, all dialed in. I'm gonna show you guys the camber, the alignment that we got going on here to get our setup. Number two, you guys already saw, we have the tab shaved in the rear. Instead of the metal, we actually did the plastic tab this time. So see how that works out. And yeah, she looks pretty fresh, dudes. Shout out to Anthony, bro. Shout out to Anthony. Look at this crap, bro. Look at this. Oh my god, bro. Oh yeah, and in the front, well, all around, we're maxed out on the HKS Hypermax coils, and then we're maxed out on the camber bolts in the front. Yeah, we're chilling at the shop. I'll give you guys a quick tour of you know, the cars that are going on here. Yes, I had my eyes on a few other wheels, but for the price, for the quality, and just for the visuals, for the aesthetics of the wheel, it's a beautiful looking wheel. The quality is well made. It's a no-brainer. To me, I always loved the little spiderweb wheel. It's such a cool wheel. So that's what we did. Now the fitment we're running, the size we're running for the wheels, we are running a 255, 35, 18, obviously, tire. We're running Continental Extreme Contact Sport 02s. We're running the summer tires, the Continentals. Affordable tire compared to the Michelin Pilot Sport. These kind of outrank them, and you guys, I'll leave you guys to do your own research on what kind of tire to run if you're thinking about a summer tire. To me, these were where I live at. I mean, I get, you know, different kind of weather, especially rain. These were the best fit tire for me, as well as the price I got it for, so I can't complain. You guys know I like my deals. So our boy Kev at Spectral Performance, he hooked us up with nice set of wheels and the other things that we needed to run this size. So I'll get to that in a moment, but shout out to him, man. So go check him out in the description down below, I'll link him. And to run the 255 tires, there is some adjustments that need to be made if, number one, you're gonna go lower, and number two, if you're even running the 255 tire. So you guys already know we run the rear lower control arms. You guys are gonna see the Fitment specs here later in the video. Our boy Anthony over at the shop CT got us right with the alignment, with the specs he dialed in. He is the supreme man when it comes to fitment. So I want to touch on the wheels one more time. We have hub rings all around. Some of you guys, if you do not know already, if you don't know the hubbub about hub rings, with your aftermarket wheels, they're gonna sit on your studs, and especially if you're gonna run stock studs and not ARP, which I highly recommend to run aftermarket studs. ARP, 2.5 inch, 3 inch if you want. Run aftermarket studs. The factory studs are absolute bananas terrible. They're terrible. They're bad, dude. Mine broke immediately. So anyways, you want to run hub-centric rings. I'm a believer of that, because if you have your aftermarket wheels, they're gonna sit on the studs and the studs only. Because the bore on aftermarket wheels is normally oversized, so it no longer sits on the hub. Hub-centric rings are gonna allow your wheels to sit back on the hub. So it's kind of a no-brainer to me, if you think of it that way, to invest in the hub-centric rings. I mean, if you're getting wheels, you're getting tires, if you're going that 9 yards, the rings are like 10 bucks. Obviously, I'm gonna throw everything in the description down below so you guys kind of see the setup. We ended up getting the plastic ones. Totally up to you if you want to get metal rings versus plastic. I just got plastic. I'm just gonna get plastic. It's kind of safe, and they're just sitting on the hub, so you know, I'll go with plastic. So that's what we went with. We went plastic. Then on our NT03 wheels, we have 2 valve stems. And I don't know if you guys know, if you do know NTOs already, you know that they come with 2 valve stems, but those of you that do not know, they have 2 valve stems. And I think that's pretty sweet. Threw them on, and I was already getting questions like, dude, why they got 2 valve stems? And I'm like, dude, do you not know the NT03 wheel? I was about to say rim, dude. No, that's not it. If you're saying rim, no, dude, it's not it. It's a wheel. It's a wheel. I'm gonna show you a picture of a rim right now. You ready? That's wrong. It's a wheel. So 2 valve stems, race car, dude, race car. You're filling up air and you're checking the air, you're checking the PSI. At the same time, you're either taking air or you're filling up air. Something else that you might be looking at if you're gonna be running this aggressive fitment we got going on is you want your front spacers. Right now we have 3mm Perrin front slip-on spacers. The reason being, so we do not rub on full lock. So if you guys don't know, if you're running a setup with the 255s, then on full lock, you're gonna rub in the front if you do not have that 3mm spacer at the very least. I kind of want to see how a 5mm looks, so we might test it out a little bit. We might see how that works out. Then you guys already know we got the front camber bolts, and then we took our old strut bolt, we popped it in from the top. We moved the top one to the bottom to achieve more camber. It's a little trick if you guys didn't know. When you're doing your coilovers, take the factory strut bolt from the top, switch it to the bottom, and then you take your camber bolt and pop it in the top. So that's how you achieve more camber, obviously. But yeah, basically we want to maximize our kind of amount of camber that we could achieve with this setup. Maybe not maximize, obviously we want to keep it functional, and this is, you know, it's a pretty aggressive setup. It's not too stancy at all, I would say personally. In my opinion, I don't want to go too stancy because I like driving in the back roads. I like kind of, you know, I like doing that. In terms of our ride height, I think now is the time to go over the specs. Boom! Our fitment, our alignment specs. We have the paperwork right here, dude. We have it. Okay, I'm gonna go over this real quick so you guys kind of get a reference point of when you put on your wheels, and then after when you get it aligned on the proper fitment. Like I said, we pulled up to Anthony over at the shop CT, and he got us right with the fitment, the camber, the ride height. Number one, before we go over this, ride height. We are completely lowered. We are maxed out on ride height. We're as low as we could go, and that is on the HKS Hypermax S coilovers. If you go with something like BC Extreme Low, Obviously, you could go lower, that's more for stance. If you do wanna go with those, by all means, I kinda wanna go a little lower. That was before the car settled. Right now, where it sits, I'm kinda content with it. I don't mind, maybe in the future, but as it sits right now, I'm kind of liking it. So we're gonna keep this ride height, we're gonna keep maxed out, and I like the way the Hypermax S coilovers feel on this. They're aggressive, and I mean, it gives me confidence when I'm driving, so that's all I need. That's all I need, dude. Okay, so the specs we have. Okay, so in the back, we have negative 3.5 degrees of camber. We're going back and forth of 3.5 to 3.7. Ultimately decided on 3.5, like the way it looked better. However, you can run the 3.7. Before we get into the rest of running the amount of camber, we'll tackle the front real quick. So fronts, you see we're not running too much amount of camber. That's basically as much as we could kind of, the setup permits. So we have negative 2.8, basically up front 2.7. Yeah, so it's nothing too crazy in terms of camber. Not only that, but you guys already know that we are not running control arms in the front. We're not running tow arms in the rear. We're not running any of that kind of further adjustment yet. Like you guys said in a previous video, that is my goal. I do want to mess with the suspension a lot more on this, but I wanted to get the wheels on first, complete. I wanted to get a look going on and progress the car a little bit before I go head on to the suspension. So I got what was necessary, and then we're gonna tackle some more suspension in the future to kind of dial everything in. I'm hyped for that. So I want to rewind it back to when we were talking about the camber, running negative 3.5 degrees of camber in the rear. So to run 255 tire, or to run that much camber on the ride height we're running right now, which is maxed out. I'll see if I can throw up the, I guess, the inches. I mean, you guys are gonna obviously see there's like no finger gap when you put your finger in the wheel well. Let me see. Oh, okay, that's that. Yeah, so we're looking like at barely one finger from wheel to fender, basically. So you guys might be asking, I have to address it. Shaving the rear tabs. A lot of you guys might be saying, I don't want to shave the rear tabs. That's something I didn't want to do to start with. Didn't want to shave the rear tabs, but I knew I wanted the 255 tire. I like the fatties, dude. I like the fat tires, dude. They're thick. I want to run them. So I was like, there has to be an alternative. So the alternative is to run upper control arms in the rear, because obviously if you're running the upper control arms, you could bring the wheel in up top more and then kick it out at the bottom with the lower control arm. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get them in time, so we ended up trimming, not the metal, which you guys always see the metal being trimmed. They pop the plastic tab off and they trim the metal. I talked to Aunt Nee and I was telling him this is what needs to happen, because it was rubbing. He didn't want to trim the metal because it wasn't rubbing enough. You guys don't want to trim metal unless you absolutely necessarily have to, because obviously if you trim the metal, then you gotta paint it again, you gotta clear coat. You want to make sure it's not going to rust there, because the first spot where it's going to rust is there, basically where you shaved it. So yeah, that's about it. And it doesn't rub too bad, but it does rub a little bit on big bumps, which I kind of want to tackle back in to see what it's kind of rubbing on, because it's not to a large extent. But yeah, if not rear upper control arms, you're gonna have to shave the tab if, like I said, you're running the dream fitment on your BRZ 86. All right, guys, what do you think of our setup on the BRZ? It honestly, is that a nail? Oh my God, bro. There's a rock in my tire. Do you see the vision? Do you see the vision we're going for? Like I said, there's only phase one of the BRZ, phase one of the setup. So yeah, we got a few more things on the way real quick. We're just kind of managing, we're coasting real quick before the winter time hits in CT, because freaking it sucks here when the winter hits. What do you guys think, man? What do you guys think? What do you guys think of the setup we got going on? I know it's something light. It's not too crazy, but like I said, this is phase one. This is, we're not going too crazy yet. We're just, slowly enjoying the mods. We're enjoying the ride. Do you think this is the proper fitment when it comes to the BRZ, the 86s, when it comes to running the thickies, the 255 tire, stuff like that? What is your fitment? That's my question to you guys, and why? All right, man, I think that's where I'm gonna head up out of here. So if you guys enjoyed today's video, be sure to give me a like, down below. It really goes a long way. And while you're down there, you can consider subscribing. That shows me you guys like what I'm doing here and I could do more. But other than that, shout out to today's video sponsor, as per usual, Hachi Electronics. He is the supreme BRZ man, 86 master of electronics. Go check him out, man. Use code Jules in the description down below for free shipping. Other than that, while you're down there, you could also check me out on socials, Julian Telesco. You find me everywhere, anywhere, and all the where. TikTok, Instagram, I like posting behind the scenes. I like posting the day-to-day life to JT, and I like posting car events, car meets, all that cool stuff. So go check me out, man, in the description down below. So yeah, if you have learned something in today's video, show some love down below. Peace!